Hi, this is going to be the first video, the work through videos that I said I would do. I'm going to be working out of Henke's Med Math in this one. I'm going to break it up into self-tests and by packets so that if you don't need help in a certain area, you don't have to watch the whole video. So I'm going to start this, and I haven't figured out the best way to do this, so if the visual quality is really bad on this, please let me know and I will try something else for the next video. So in Henke's Med Math, I'm going to be on page 264 and be working through these problems. So we'll start with self-test 1. And the first problem says that you have an order for heparin sodium 800 units per hour. And your supply is standard solution of 25,000 units in 250 milliliters via an infusion pump. The infusion pump part of that is going to tell us that what we need is milliliters per hour. That's what the question they're asking when they say rate. So to set this problem up, I usually, and this is the way I do it, everybody does it differently, but I use proportions and I don't reduce or cross out. So if you do any of that, feel free to add that in, but I just don't trust myself to not mess something up somewhere because I'm just not math inclined, to be honest. So to set this problem up, the way I go about it is first I think, what are they asking? They're asking for milliliters per hour. Then I ask, what do I know? What I know in this scenario is I know that my supply is 25,000 units per 250 milliliters. And I know that what the order is written for is for 800 units per hour. So if I put 800 units here, it will tell me how many milliliters that is, which I don't know, so that's my X. And that will come out to tell me how many milliliters, because it's 800 milliliters per hour. It'll tell me how many milliliters I'm going to have per hour to put into my infusion pump. So then I'll just cross multiply that out. Again, there's probably ways to reduce this and do this much simpler, but this is what works for me. So 25,000 times X is 25,000. X equals, and then 800 units, times 250 milliliters is going to give me 200,000. And then to get my X, I'll divide 200,000 by 25,000. So then X is going to equal 8. So I know that 8 milliliters per hour is my rate. I'm going to put this up to the screen a little bit more. I don't know if you can see that. I'll leave it there for a minute if you want to look at it. You can pause it. Okay, and then how many hours will the IV run? We've already done this before, but we can go over it again. If we have 250 milliliters to give at 8 milliliters per hour, all you do is you take your 250 milliliters and then you're going to divide it by 8 milliliters per hour. And you end up with 31.25. So it's 31 hours and 15 minutes. Now I just eyeballed that 0.25 is 15 minutes because that's a quarter of an hour. But if you haven't figured it out yet, if anybody still needs to go over it, basically you just multiply 0.25 times 60 and it will give you your answer. That's going to come up with your minutes. So that's basically how all of these problems are set up in self-test 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and work through them real quick, and you can fast forward, pause, do whatever you need if there's one you're stuck on, or if you completely understand it, just move on to the next video. So the next problem is acyclovir, 500 milligrams in 100 milliliters of D5W over an hour. So we have an infusion pump. So again, we know that the question is asking milliliters per hour. And the supply is 500 milligrams in 100 milliliters. This one doesn't require any math because you're giving 500 milligrams over 1 hour and in 100 milliliters. And then your infusion, your supply is exactly the same. So it's just going to be 100 milliliters per hour. So the answer, your rate would be 100 milliliters per hour. So there's no math that needs to be done there. So I'm just writing it in. And then, let's see. Number 3, it's Amicar, 24 grams over 24 hours. So we know just from looking at that, that's 1 gram per hour. So you're going to be putting in an infusion pump again, so it's going to ask what the rate is. So you're looking for milliliters per hour again. And let's see, our supply is 24 grams and 1,000 milliliters. So what we know is 24 grams in 1,000 milliliters. So that's what we know. And what we do not know is 1 gram equals, because we're looking for 1 gram per hour equals how many milliliters. So if 24 grams is in 24 hours, it's going to be 1 gram per hour. So that's how many grams you're going to be giving within an hour. So to set up your proportion, you would just do the 24 grams. We know that there's 24 grams in 1,000 milliliters. And we know that there's 1 gram in X milliliters that will go in over an hour. So setting it up like this is just going to give us, with no additional steps, our milliliters per hour. So to work that out, it's just 1,000 cross multiply equals 24x. Divide it all by 24 to get your x equals 1,000 divided by 24 is 41.66 repeating, so it's going to be 42. So it's 42 milliliters per hour, if that makes sense. All right, moving on to number 4. We have cardizem, 10 milligrams per hour. It looks like all of these are going in an infusion pump, so I'm going to quit going over that. Obviously, you know what we're looking for, it's milliliters per hour when you see infusion pump. So, cardizem, on number 4, cardizem, 10 milligrams per hour. So what do we know here? We know that we have 125, draw a line here, milligrams per 100 milliliters. And we know that we need 10 milligrams going in over X milliliters because that's going to be over an hour. So 125 milligrams over 100 milliliters and 10 grams over X milliliters. That's going to give us our milliliters per hour. So then you just multiply that out. 25 X equals, and even if it's 2 plus 2, I put it in the calculator because I make silly mistakes sometimes. And hey, even when I put it in the calculator, I still make silly mistakes. So then you just divide that out for X, and that is X equals 8 milliliters per hour. The problem on the bottom. So number 4, we're giving 8 milliliters per hour. Okay. Moving on to number 5. Lasix infused 4 milligrams per hour. Let's see. We know we have Lasix 100 milligrams in 100 milliliters. So I'm setting this up the exact same way again. I know, I always do my knowns first. I know I have 100 milligrams in 100 milliliters. And I know I need 4 milligrams per hour. So how many milliliters is that going to be? X milliliters. So then I'm just going to cross multiply that out. 100 times 4 is 400. 100 times X is 100X. Divide it all by 100, and X equals 4. So 4 milliliters per hour. Probably could have done that in my head or your head, but for me, it's better safe than sorry. I'd rather write it out. It helps me not make as many mistakes. So number 5 is 4 milliliters per hour. Okay, so for number 6, let's see. We have a regular insulin. Draw a line here. Regular insulin, 15 units per hour. And so we're going to start with our known again on number 6. Our standard solution is 125 units in 250 milliliters. So what we want, so I always start with the known and then I go to the want. What we want is 15 units. We need to know how many milliliters that is so that we can know how many milliliters per hour to give. So just cross multiply that out. 125x, 15 times 250 is 3750 divided by 125. So it's 30 milliliters per hour. So number 6. And then it's asking you that how many hours will the IV run. You're just going to go back and you're going to find you have 250 milliliters that you're giving at 15 units per hour, which is 30 milliliters per hour. So you just divide 250 by 30. And you should end up with 8.33 repeating. So 0.33 times 60 is 19.8, which is 20 minutes. So it'd be 8 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, so let's see. We're going to move on to number 7. Number 7 is nitroglycerin, 50 milligrams in 250 milliliters over 24 hours via infusion pump. So this, you're not having your have and know and whatnot. They're just asking if you put 250 milliliters over 24 hours into an infusion pump, what is the rate? So all you would need to do for number 7 is take your 250 milliliters, divide it by 24 hours, and that will give you your milliliters per hour. You've done this before. 250 divided by 24, 10.4, so 10 milliliters per hour. All right, so number 8, heparin, 1,200 units per hour is your order. So let's start with what we know. We know that we have a standard solution of 25,000 units per 500 milliliters. And what we do not know is how many milliliters is 1,200 units. So that's how you set it up. And 25, you just cross multiply. And you can set this up any way you want. I'm sure everybody knows that by now. So it should be 25,000 x equals 600,000, and then 600,000 divided by 25,000 is 24. So for 8, your rate is going to be 24 milliliters per hour. And then it asks again, how long will the IV run? So you're always going to take what your supply is. So you have 500 milliliters. So you want to take 500 milliliters and you want to divide it by 24 milliliters, and that's going to give you how many hours it'll run. So 500 divided by 24 is 20.83 repeating. So 20 hours, and take your 0.83 and multiply it by 60. So 50 minutes. 49.8 is what it came out to. So 50 minutes. Okay, so we got 2 left. Number 9, saying you have an order for regular insulin at 23 units per hour, and you have a supply of a standard solution, which is 250 units per 250 milliliters. And what we need to find out is how many milliliters is 23 units that is going to be going in hourly. So 250x equals 23 times 250, 5750. Divided by 250 gives me 23 milliliters per hour. And then just to figure out your time, how many hours will the IV run? You're just going to take your supply, which is your 250 units, and then you're going to divide it by your 23 milliliters per hour, and that should give you 10 hours. Well, 10.869565. So 10.87. So 0.87 times 60 is 52.2, so 52 minutes. So 10 hours, 52 minutes. All right, number 10 is the last one. Yay. You have an order for 100,000 international units an hour for 24 hours. your supply, again, we want to go with what we know. We know that 750,000, I'm just going to put I units because I don't even know how to abbreviate that. I'll look that up later. International units in 250 milliliters. That's what I know. And I'm wanting to give 100,000 per, I don't know, milliliters, so X milliliters. So you're just going to cross multiply out. So 750,000 X equals 250 times 100,000. So I'm going to write this below here because I don't think you can see it very well. And then you just divide everything by 750,000 to get your X. And you get 33.3 repeating. So 33 milliliters per hour is your rate.